Well, nationally, President Trump unveiled his new three-part plan to reopen America amid this COVID-19 crisis. And each phase requires states to meet certain criteria to make sure the virus doesn't resurge. Phase one under strict social distancing measures. Elective surgeries could resume, but bars in schools would stay closed. In phase two, schools and daycare centers or camps can resume and bars could reopen, but visits to nursing homes and hospitals would still be barred. And lastly, phase three, higher risk people could go back out in public. Companies can resume normal staffing without restrictions, and nursing homes and hospitals could open to visitors. And now let's take a look at what's going on here in our state. In Indiana, as Governor Holcomb joined the president on a phone call to go over the new three-part plan, and he offered some insight into when our state could reopen. Although he won't put a specific date on it yet, he did say they're thinking early May. The governor announced he's also meeting with states across the Midwest to figure out a regional plan for reopening.
And we're on day two of stimulus checks going out to millions of Americans. A lot of people still have questions. Some are seeing complications. Others want to know where their check is. Our Verified team is digging into the top questions that we're seeing online.
Sent us about stimulus checks. First up, can stimulus check money be garnished or seized to pay for debts? Yes and no. The CARES Act says the federal government cannot take these checks for most debts, including if you owe past taxes or student debt. But if you owe child support or other private debts to banks or collectors, the checks can be seized to pay for those. Next, many of you emailed us frustrations about the IRS site because you got this, quote, payment status not available screen. So what does this mean? Well, according to the IRS, it shows up if you don't qualify for a payment, if you didn't file a tax return in 2018 or 2019, if you filed through another part of their site for non-filers, or if you're a Social Security or Railroad Retirement recipient. Now, before you assume the worst, it can also show up if your information you type doesn't exactly match what's on your tax return. I personally had to capitalize the name of my road to get it to work. And finally, a few people asked if they have to pay tax filing companies to get their money. No. Some tax filing companies have put together tools to help people navigate these payments. And some of those tools also show options for paid tax services. But the bottom line here is that you don't have to use any of those. The IRS has its own site where you can put in your information and check your refund. Anything asking for money is for other tax services not related to the stimulus check. If you've got more questions, send us an email. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
And keep in mind, the IRS has only sent stimulus money using direct deposit so far. They haven't sent payments to Social Security recipients yet. So if you're waiting on paper checks, those won't start mailing until the end of April. And if you'd rather get a direct deposit, you can log into the IRS site and give them a bank account to send your money to instead of waiting on a check.